I will begin by saying that I've been privileged to sit in different sites in the industry. I began as employment as employed by a contractor. I then was employed by a consultant, and then I was employed by an organization where I represented them now as a client, and then I've also been a consultant myself. So that gives me a wide view of the industry and sitting in all the sides of the players in the industry. It helped me appreciate from what corner a player in the industry would be arguing their case or their position. And so my response is, of course, informed by that kind of background. And so I will go straight and tell you, I don't think that is the best route that the industry should keep. And I will emphasize by saying this is an area of improvement that we need to do as an industry. I'll take you back to Eurocodes. And when you're carrying out structural designs to Eurocodes, EC0, where we capture the design assumptions. The assumption is that all designs and structural system, that assumption that the structural system and design are actually done by someone who is appropriately qualified and experienced. So that is assumption of the Eurocodes. The question is, do we meet that kind of expectation? The other assumption is that the execution is carried out by personnel with appropriate skill and experience. And execution is basically construction. So the question is, do we also meet that kind of expectation when we are carrying out our designs? Another assumption is that there's adequate supervision and quality control during design and execution, and we dwelt on this, largely pointing out that failures or collapsed buildings, they're really so much to do with actions of omission and commission by players and by people in the industry. The other assumption is that construction materials comply with appropriate standards, whether we are talking about Kenya standards, American standards, whatever standard. The assumption is the construction material comply. British standards, European standards, the standards that we are using, Indian standard, it is assumed that the construction material comply. And then the executive standards and material specifications also are met during the construction process. And another assumption, and this is also very important, that the structure will be adequately maintained. And last but not least, another assumption is that the structure will be used as per design assumptions. Now, when you look at all those assumptions, they are supposed to be a reality when you're doing the construction. And this reminds me, we had on 15th October last year, we had a webinar on ethics for engineers in the building sector. And we had a point coming from America that out there, when you carry out the design as an engineer, you are not allowed to supervise it. Someone else is supposed to supervise it. And for me, I think that it is a practice that will add a lot of value to our situation, because then we almost force design review and a second opinion on design, because the person implementing is not the person who designed. So he must study the design and satisfy himself that the design is okay. So I don't think that is the best standard our industry has adopted. We better change to a situation whereby, and this gives a lot of problems to some of our consulting firms, when now they're subjected to external reviews, design external reviews, especially by donor-funded projects. because they have to be reviewed and re-reviewed. So yes, it's an area we definitely need to improve. If you ask me, we can streamline the industry such that we adopt such a concept as that was reported in North America. If not, then by default we expect that the designs cannot go to execution without an independent design review from a different professional. So yes, that is my view, and I think it cuts across not only for engineering, maybe also quantity surveying and architecture.